I mean, team, so I'm on the road right now, but I did want to take a quick second to give you guys a heads up on what's been going on that I just saw recently on the news. So I'm not a big fan of conspiracy theories, and I'm not the type of person who thinks that everything's an attack on Christianity on its surface. You guys know that about me. But in light of these recent events, it's getting harder and harder to deny that something else is going on. Laws have been getting passed lately that are making special rules against religious people that don't apply to everyone else equally. And the excuses that they keep providing just don't seem to make a whole lot of sense. So if you didn't know, the Supreme Court recently ruled that casinos and restaurants and bars and gyms and so on, all of those can operate at 50% capacity. But at the same time, they limited religious services to a maximum of 50 people. And that doesn't matter how big the building is, it doesn't matter the precautions they take, like wearing a mask or spacing people out or anything like that. Instead, they limited religious services to only 50 people, and that's despite the size of the church. So this makes us wonder why these rules are in place in the first place. Is the reason really to protect people from getting COVID, and so it's a health risk? But if it's about health, then these restrictions don't seem to make a whole lot of sense, since the risk of getting COVID is just as high, if not higher, in some of these bars and casinos than they would be in these churches. Why the seemingly arbitrary restrictions on churches? Well, my first thought when I thought about this was it's probably economic, because I assumed that most of the revenue in Nevada comes from these casinos, so they wanted to make special exceptions for casinos in order to get more money and the revenue for the state of Nevada. Then I thought, if that's the case, why then are they opening up all of the bars and the gyms and the restaurants as well, while still not allowing churches to open at 50% capacity like the rest of the places? So the reason that the governor of Nevada gave for this is he said that religious venues should be more limited in capacity than casinos because the casinos are more closely regulated by the state and therefore represent less of a threat to public health. But in reality, and at least at the time that this law was passed, a Lifeway study came out that showed that 99% of the churches that reopened took the recommended safety precautions that were advised to ensure the safety of their congregants. So at this point, unless there's something else that I don't know, the issue seems to be constitutional, because the Constitution, it doesn't guarantee us that we have the right to go to bars and restaurants or anything like that, but instead it is supposed to guarantee us the freedom of religion. So as Christians, I think that this should remind us of at least two things. One, we need to fight to protect the Constitution and make sure that it gets upheld, but ultimately our hope fundamentally isn't in this world or the ones who govern it. Our duty as Christians is to go make disciples of the nations, and this means that we should continue to give people the gospel of Jesus Christ and continue to do so no matter the cost. The world seems to be headed in the wrong direction, and you know that things are getting bad when even atheist organizations are canceling atheists for giving facts about transgenders. Now click on this video to see what I mean. But the next time you hear about these governors banning Christians for seemingly arbitrary reasons, what are you gonna say?
What do you mean?